Welcome to the Fandom Post Radio Podcast. I am your engineer, Kate, and joining me this week is Brandon.
Hello.
Kestrel.
Yo.
Kane.
Hello, hello.
And DJ.
Greetings.
And we're here to talk about anime, because that's what we do on this here podcast. And we are going to be discussing the first several episodes of most of the summer 2022 anime season that has begun in the last couple of weeks. But did we have any news that broke since last week? Because that's when we recorded the last newscast.
No, I don't think so. I didn't have anything on the document.
No news is good news, since half the time lately it seems to be people dying tragically. So I'm okay with that this week. So we can jump right into the shows. Awesome, let's go.
You're in a good mood today, Kate. I like this.
I know. Very unusual.
I'm trying to be perky and upbeat.
I'm all about
Kate,
it.
why don't we keep it going? And you said you were watching a show this season, and I believe Brandon is also watching the same show. Probably other people too, if I were to look.
I think a lot of people watched at least the first episode of the show. But there's only one episode of the show out so far, so why
don't you get into it?
I am talking about The Devil is a Part-Timer Season 2.
Oh my god. It happened.
And it's been 9 years.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really.
Wow.
What is time? It's been so long that the entire light novel series is actually out in English.
Wow.
So, yeah, that light novel series is done and dusted, and then they announced a second season, picking right up from where the first season left off 9 years later.
They probably just wanted to come back to it because the light novel's finished, right?
Maybe. I mean, it'd be cool if they decided to adapt the whole thing. That would be sweet. But yeah, it was kind of super random that it was kind of just put on that back shelf with a couple of other light novel series that were like, we're never going to see any more of that for whatever reason. And then they were like, yeah, we're going to make another season of Devil's Part-Timer. Yeah, we're going to make another season of Spice and Wolf. It was like, what just happened? So, yeah, it's one of my favorite light novel series. So I'm stoked that it's getting another season, because it is the reverse isekai, where instead of people traveling from this world to another, it's people traveling from another world to this world.
I missed Mig Ronalds. I missed it so much.
Yeah, Mig Ronalds is back, baby. The world's most perfect fast food restaurant where all the employees are absolutely perfect and nothing horrible ever happens, because it's
that's
Japan fast food. Yeah. It's kind of funny because this first episode back, they did a kind of short recap of just the overarching, there was the devil Satan fighting the hero Amelia, and he was losing and he absconded to another plane of reality, and Amelia followed after him, and they ended up in modern day Japan. And then didn't explain anything else and just assume the audience has either seen the first season or read the light novels, because then they just launch into the random banter and bickering and apartment living and banal, oh my god, you need to pull your weight, the freeloader, with the girl living next door having to listen to all this, and the other girl who shows up to antagonize everybody, and the high school girl, and they explain who none of these people are, and they just launch right back into it. I'm like, I can respect this decision. Let's go.
Yeah, I didn't mind.
The only thing I remember from that first season, I may not be correct, is black pepper fries.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Yeah, it was like the special, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" They just took normal fries and put pepper on them. That's something we can do every day at McDonald's.
Hey, but they're branded, so
Like I'd get it if there was maybe like a black pepper garlic type deal. I don't know. I just remember thinking it was the lamest shit ever. I was like, they're making a big deal out of these goddamn black pepper fries. Now, granted, I would still buy them and eat them.
No, just wait until they open the big cafe. Because that's going to happen at some point if they keep adapting the show.
They really should have gone with the wasabi fries, because I mean that is a little bit more on the nose.
That's a little more on brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only two McDonald's substitutes I can ever name off the top of my head are this one, which is McDonald's, and then Prince of Tennis, which is Wackdonald's. They just turn the M into a W.
There's got to be like a dozen anime with McDonald's or Wackdonald's.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's just I just remember it from that show because they would go there all the time and eat a shit ton of hamburgers.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it would be a competition like everything in that stupid anime.
I like it back when the animes were just putting fucking Pizza Hut right in the shows.
Yeah, well, that was advertising.
Product placement, I know, but it was just so funny.
Yeah.
It was such a random ass product placement.
There's a lot of them.
Especially since wasn't one of the shows Code Geass or something?
Oh yeah, I mean they worked it into Code Geass. Like,
everyone knows the iconic image of Cece eating the drippy pizza.
Right. And like that cheese coon, the big plushie she got, that was like a Pizza Hut thing. Yeah, they went hard in Code Geass.
Did Darker Than Black have a Pizza Hut?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
They were all about Pizza Hut too.
Okay.
That was the Pizza Hut era. It was so fucking funny.
Mid-late 2000s Pizza Hut in every anime.
Personal pan pizza.
I just like the fact that they have these two universes where like shit is all upside down and backwards, and yet no, Pizza Hut still exists.
At least we still got the hut.
Yep.
This timeline can still be saved.
So what's the general consensus about this show given the 9-year time span? I mean, I was just starting to date my wife when this show came out.
Oh my goodness.
People
This
really
was
like
one of the first shows I ever reviewed for the site. That's right when I started reviewing.
You're not doing the second season, are you? Are you doing it, Kate?
I'm doing second season.
Gotcha.
The first season was very well received, and it has a great English dub, which I'm very curious to see who and if they get back for dubbing that.
They're all still active, right?
I think. Well, there's one guy who's definitely not going to be in the show. But other than that, because he's a registered sex offender.
Oh, that guy's in it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He was playing a creepy guy who was also a sex pest in the show, so that seems somehow appropriate.
I see that.
But that character's still in the show, so he is getting recast.
Yeah.
But yeah, 9 years. Damn. Yeah, obviously production's quality's taken a hit because of the change in studios and the change in character designs, but it's not a dramatic, we're not looking at Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer here. I mean, this is like it went from like being absurdly better than it probably had any right to being like average. So that's acceptable. I'll take it.
I mean, for a show where they're basically arguing about people not doing their chores half of the time, I thought some of the character animation was good, but yeah, definitely lots of like off-model shots that are, I don't know. It's like each character kind of looked different in every scene.
Yeah, there was a lot of like not particularly what do you call it? Consistency.
Yeah.
Is this because the studios that have taken over are just inexperienced, or is it just lack of money, all of the above? Like, I'm just
don't
curious.
really know. I mean, I think the studio that took over is generally less impressive than the one that had it originally. So I'm be sure that would have something to do with it, but who knows?
Yeah, because it is not White Fox. Studio 3 Hertz.
Yeah, they've done like Princess Principal. That's the only notable thing I can think of that they've worked on.
I do like the Sword Art spin-offs.
Yeah, and that one Gun Gale Online alternative, whatever.
Mention W. Yeah. Yeah, not too much, not a huge resume of stuff, but I mean, I never really was into the show originally for animation quality anyways. I'd say the comedy's still what I expect from it, so I got that out of it. We'll see if it can keep holding it down.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, even then, like the first season just had really, really solid like direction and like, like some very flashy scenes where it was necessary, but it's not a high action series. There are moments of action occasionally, but that's about it. So yeah, like it doesn't need to be super flashy, and it's not like this didn't have a lot of animation. There was definitely animation happening in the show, so it's not a slideshow. Thank God. I'm here for the comedy.
As long as they animate a Doulahan Akira slide, I think I'll be happy.
Right. The essentials.
And it looks like this season's adapting the next two light novels, judging by who they showed for characters in the opening animation. So
can I get a quick refresher on what a light novel is exactly? It's just like a small book with a couple pictures, right? Like essentially, like maybe a picture every once in a while.
I think it's more the serialization of them that makes them into light novels, because they're not like really that much shorter than normal novels. At least the ones I've read.
Some of them are absurdly huge. Like the word light novel has no meaning at that point. But yeah, it's basically just like they're serialized like manga and collected into volumes like manga, and yeah, they're occasionally have some pictures and stuff.
Yeah, every volume
the reading is light in general.
Yeah, every volume of Slant is like 350 pages long.
Wow, Jesus, yeah, that's just a normal ass book.
Yeah,
there was some volume of like Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere or something that was like one of the longest Japanese books of all time or something. Yeah.
So kind of like Vampire Hunter D has like 20 books or some shit.
Yeah, and that's been around for so long, and that's basically like that predates like the branding light novel, I think. But it's basically kind of a light novel series. Also kind of garbage, but like at least from the volume I had to read and review back in the day. But
yeah, I picked up one at like a used bookstore just for the Amino art inside, but I mean, I'll probably read it someday.
They're just kind of, I remember it not being particularly well written. It could have been the translator. I don't know. Yeah, I always like in my brain. I always kind of just lump them in with like the English equivalent of like young adult.
Right.
It's like it's that same bracket. Kind of the same thing too. Like that didn't really exist as a genre until relatively recently either. So kind of formulating around the same time that both Japan and the US were like, and English speaking countries were like, yeah, we're going to specifically target this audience with these books that are not as dense, aimed at this kind of age bracket. So that's what you get. That's a light novel.
All right, cool. I got it. Yeah, that clears things up a little bit, because I think I remember at a different point in time Kestrel talking about a light novel being absurdly long, but I never remembered to ask then what makes it a light novel or why they even call it that, but that makes a little more sense then. Excellent. Speaking of Kestrel, did you say what you thought of the show so far? I know Kestrel and Brandon have spoken a little bit, but I can't remember if you had said anything.
What, you mean Kate and Brandon have spoken?
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think over the years since I watched it originally, I've been into it less, so I wasn't like that excited to have it back, honestly. And I don't like the new aesthetic as much as the old one. But it's still very, fun and light, and that's kind of all I'm there for. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I reviewed it originally 9 years ago, so I'm sure I had some reasons why I liked it a lot at the time. I guess it just was different from what I was expecting and seemed fun and fresh. But when I look back on it, it's like, yeah, I don't know, that wasn't anything that special. It was just kind of a silly little premise that they had some fun with. Maybe if I watched it again, I would, realize that it was like really funny. And the first episode of this new one so far, like, it wasn't hilarious to me, but it's fun and light again. So all I need.
I think one of the things that kind of hurts it is that in the 9 years since it first aired, there's just been such an oversaturation of these types of shows of like isekai or reverse isekai where they do a mundane thing like working a job or like doing some menial tasks, and it's like it was funny and original when it first happened, and it's still funny, but it's not anything special like it was when it first aired.
Right. I think that's probably the reason, is that I hadn't seen that before the first season, and it seems like, with its premise and its title, that it could be absolute trash, and it wasn't that, and it was something I hadn't seen before, so that's why it was kind of novel at the time. It was light and novel.
Oh,
nice.
The good news is like if they keep going forward with the plot, it kind of like it remains like a kind of like slice of life, like office comedy sitcom kind of thing, but like also suddenly Kabbalism and like celestial beings and stuff. So, which are kind of which begins like literally in this season. So, yes, there's an overarching plot. Yes, it'll come into play at some point. So,
yeah, hopefully I'm into it.
Yeah, I think if you watch the first season, there's not a drop enough in quality for you not to watch the second season. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's not an atrocious, oh god, what have they done?
Yeah,
this isn't Berserk 2016.
Yeah.
No.
It's like, yeah, everyone looks a little different. All right, that's fine. Same show.
I think it's all the same voice cast, right?
Yeah, the Japanese voice cast appears to be the same. So
yeah.
Cool. Well, if everyone is all finished with that, I think we can just park right into another show about doing mundane things in a parallel world, which would be the Parallel World Pharmacy, which I'm watching, and I think Kestrel's watching, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a
nice.
CVS in another world I see now.
Yeah, which funny enough, there's also another thing, because I was Googling this to try and bring up like the character names and stuff so I could remember them, and I just typed pharmacy in another world, and there's a thing that's just called drugstore in another world, and it's the exact thing.
Yep.
So this kind of fucked me up a little. I was like, no, I got this title right. What is happening? No, it's Parallel World Pharmacy.
The other one was Walgreens in another world.
Walgreens in another world. Alternate world Walgreens.
Yep.
So yeah, I picked this one up on a whim, mainly because, funnily enough, I had taken like a medicine class like in college, like a just historical medicine as kind of like a elective course in my final semester just to have, and I was like, oh man, I didn't realize how like weird dumb shit people did for medicinal purposes back in the day, and I bet that's what this show is going to be about, because it's about an overworked pharmacist who dies and then goes back into another world that's in like a Victorian-esque time period where everyone was like, oh, your tooth hurts, here's Coke. And I was just thinking that this could be fun. And for the most part, I'm actually enjoying it so far. It really sticks to what feels like decent, like medicinal terminology and things, to the point where it gets very complicated for like a scene where he makes, I think it's like chickenpox medication or something, and it just gets ridiculously complicated, and like all the chemical compounds and the processes needed to refine the chemicals and things like that. So in that way, it's definitely delivering, because I think he even straight up criticizes one of their like potions being like, this isn't any better than fucking Gatorade. which is interesting, but yeah, so far it's been pretty enjoyable. I think it's got 3 episodes. The main thing I'm waiting on happening is the obvious, how does this kid know all of this stuff? Because, you know, something people don't think about super often when it's like, what time period would you want to go back in time to? It's like the knowledge you have from this time period would get you killed in that time period, like pretty easily.
But that's going back into our world. In every isekai world, they just accept that the protagonist from another world is just omnipotent.
Yeah, omnipotent, which they start to do in this one, but then at least Pharma, I can't remember the original guy's name, because his human earthling form is only in it for like 5 minutes before he gets the black and white death scene.
Yeah.
Which I laughed at. I didn't know if it was supposed to be funny, but I definitely laughed at it.
It wasn't a truck-coon scenario. What was causing?
He falls asleep on a couch after overworking himself, and then it just goes to like black and white pencil sketch style art, and then he's just dead.
Like the Osamu Dezaki still screen. Yeah.
And then he just wakes up in the parallel universe, you know, world type thing as this 12, 13, well, maybe closer, maybe like 11, 12-year-old boy, something like that. And they're accepting him as like, the people who know him and know that he has these abilities are accepting him as some type of like pseudo god, but he also realizes that he's like, I have to be careful because I don't want to get fucking, you know, killed. It also is starting to cover some like relatable modern day stuff, because this universe is also a universe where poor people can't get medication. So yeah,
like an isekai. That sounds like nonfiction.
And they blatantly talk about it. They're just like, oh, I live in another world where common people can't get medication, and I just want to help cure people from illness and everything. So not too different from modern times. Now, I don't have a whole lot of isekai like experience. Kestrel, you've probably watched an infinitely larger amount than I have, so I wanted to get your thoughts on this kind of thing, because I think I read one piece of a review of the first episode, and people were like, it's generic, and it kind of feels like it, but I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has a lot of your usual tropes, but I think at this point, it's just, if you can use those in an interesting way, then you're doing better than most. And that's kind of what the show has going for it, because, yeah, it's kind of like your generic isekai plus Dr. Stone. Like, the knowledge he uses from our world to, you know, create new medicines and use his scientific prowess alongside his super isekai powers, of course, to basically create anything. You know, it's interesting and creative and has a lot of potential. So I think that's kind of what sets it slightly apart from just generic isekai trash. But yeah, I mean, all of the tropes are pretty common.
Yeah, I think what entices me about this show in particular is the fact that it does kind of have a built-in, it has a built-in oh shit moment, which is what I was saying about earlier, Kate, which is like, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, which is essentially when people start questioning how he can just cure all these people's diseases in ways that people haven't been able to before.
I hope something like that happens, but yeah, in my experience with isekai, everyone just kind of accepts it. Like, this one guy is just God. I guess they've already done a little bit more to that effect than most, in that, you know, his trainer is like, what the fuck, don't show anyone you can do all this. This is not something that normal people can do. So
yeah, and he like doesn't have a shadow.
Yeah, also that.
Yeah, and all sorts of stuff. But it's set the groundwork a little bit, Kestrel, because at the end, near the end of the 3rd episode or whatever the newest one is, Pharma does say like how much longer can I keep using this power without a cost?
Mhm.
So it's at least trying to set up some type of like there will be a consequence for these actions. Now, what it is, who's to say, and when it will happen, who's to say. But at the very least, the character, recognizes that there has to be some type of catch to me being able to create all these compounds and chemicals and elements and just kind of heal all these people with medicines that they have no idea of, like, when is it going to turn around on me? And I have to be careful. So at the very least, he acknowledges it. Yeah, what did you say? I'm sorry.
It turns out he's a Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. I like that he can like see people's like medical problems to fix, and it's not just like, oh, you have a bad back. Like, he's using actual medical terms, which I guess is because the manga itself was made with like consulting physicians and medical professionals to make sure that like the terminology was correct and the diagnoses and things like that were all proper, which is a decent amount of homework for an isekai.
Yeah, so that's that's also kind of like Dr. Stone. I think they had like scientist consultants to make sure all their shit was in order.
Scientist consultants.
And then they completely ignored like the whole biological factor of your population would have been so inbred they would not have survived.
Yeah, well, other than that part. But in terms of making cool shit.
That's true. I liked it whenever they would slap the big old do not try this at home on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good. Like, it's not going to blow you away with its visuals or anything either. It does have a rather generic art style, like just a modern art style. Nobody has noses. Everybody's face is fucking flat. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
Here's a super interesting thing that I did not realize. This anime adaptation, not the original light novel, is written by Wataru Watari, who's the creator of Oregairu. Which is a weird thing to happen. Have one light novel author adapt another light novel author's work for anime. I guess he's done a bit of work in anime, though, so... Yeah.
He's cool.
I would be able to meet him this month if I could go to Otakon.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, is he supposed to be there or something?
Yeah.
Man. Kestrel was going through a crisis. He messaged me about it the other day.
Oh, about whether or not he should fly back to the East Coast just to meet
the figure out how to abandon his family.
Yeah, that's not the issue. I would absolutely be on the East Coast if it weren't for the fact that I let my family make these plans and didn't check the dates and didn't know if I was going to be ready to go to Otakon since I was moving and everything. Anyway.
It's Tisk. That's what happens when you interact with family instead of just cutting them out of your life.
I know.
That's your mistake.
They're going to have Maria Issei there. She's one of my favorite Seiyu.
Yeah, if that's if we're good talking about the CVS in another universe, then we can certainly move on to a different show. I didn't know if there was anything that anybody wanted to talk about in particular. I am curious to hear about Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer because I remember there was hype around it, and it looks like that hype hit a brick wall.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about that.
Yeah, it looks like shit. Who knows what happened with the production of this show? But it almost certainly did not have any of the resources it needed in terms of time, talent, or money. And yeah, it looks like after 17 years of people wanting this manga adapted into anime, Satoshi Mizukami's first, longest, most well-known manga series, this is the treatment it gets. I mean, still not like as bad of an adaptation as Berserk, but it's just not animated at all. It is comically bad.
Would you say it's more disappointing than Berserk, though? Because at that point, Berserk had a number of adaptations that were okay at best.
There is not a single anime that was more disappointing than Berserk. It's the best possible source material, and it was absolute trash. And we hadn't gotten anything past the Golden Age arc since 1997. So the fact that that's what we got, yeah, there could be no greater disappointment.
All I hear is metal clanking.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
not
God.
even just the visuals, the fucking sound design. So bizarre.
Like, everything about that was terrible. Like everything.
Ugh.
I think you could argue, just for the sake of argument, that Berserk is actually one of the worst things to try and adapt because adapt because the art is so high quality and there's such a high expectation that you need to get people that are very good, give them unlimited amount of money, unlimited amount of time, but not an unlimited amount of time because the fans are going to be anxious to get it. And they're going to be people who are like, where is it? Where is it? And then you'll probably never make everybody happy when it comes to something like Berserk because of just how high that bar is.
Look,
so I think you can make an argument.
All they had to do.
Whatever you're going to say next is not right because with something like Berserk, all they have to do is will always end in all they have to do is get the best animators with the most money and the most time and the best sound design, or it would be a disappointment.
Here's the thing, though. People like the 97 series.
Yeah, I mean, the 97 series is a good adaptation. If they gave it that kind of treatment with modern technology, that'd be great. Even the
that's
movies
all they had to do.
fine. Yeah,
all they had to do.
Like it would not.
Is it
have
good
been
because it's good, or good because all the others are so bad and it's just this is what we have?
No, it was good before there were bad ones. The new adaptation, like it was never going to be as good as the source material. None of them are, but it could have been good, or it at least could have been not absolute trash.
It could have been watchable and enjoyable.
Like there's a difference between a good adaptation that can't live up to the source material and just a bad adaptation that produces a bad show from great source material.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a Berserk adaptation is always going to be doomed to people going, at best, it's all right.
I mean, I think the 97 series is great. I think it's a great anime. I don't think it's the best anime, which Berserk is the best manga, but I think it's a great anime.
I'm going to challenge. I disagree. Respectfully disagree. But
you
anyway,
disagree that it's a great anime or that I think it's a great anime?
I disagree that you think it's great because I remember a separate conversation we had a couple years ago where you said it's a terrible adaptation. You said it's a fine anime, but a terrible adaptation because of how good Berserk is. You said that specifically.
Please come up with a quote where I said the word terrible in regards to the 97 series.
I mean, I'd have to listen back to older episodes, but I'm sure I could find it.
I think if anything, the route of doing like a movie every 2 or 3 years would be the best route for that. But I don't know. It's still doesn't equal it being good. So
right, but to cycle back around to Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. Is the kind of general just fan consensus period is that it's quite trash?
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Whether they were the biggest fans of the manga or had never heard of it before, everyone just can tell how awful this production is.
Oh wow! So people who don't even have like experience with the series as is are just like, this thing sucks.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Oh man, that's when you know it's bad.
Yeah, it's just really poor quality.
When that first trailer came out for it, my heart sank. I was like, I'm just gonna pretend this isn't happening, and I just walked away.
Even the trailer, everyone was like, "Oh god,
man, that sucks." Because I remember when it was announced, and people were like losing their shit.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, 17 years of waiting.
Ugh, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Well, we can shift on to something else now. I was just curious as to what made it so bad, given how badly people wanted it. But that is unfortunate. But Okay. DJ, how about we talk about something off of your list? You haven't really said a whole lot this episode. So is there anything that you want?
Any of those things you guys talked about?
Can you talk about
what would you like to hear about?
Well, if you wanted something that would warrant a conversation, the three of you, Kestrel, and myself are watching Lycoris Recoil. Licorice? Licorice? I think it's
Lycoris.
Lycoris.
They work at Lico Rico.
I like Lycoris Recoil better because that's basically what it does to me.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, okay. I like it. I think Chisato is a really good main heroine. She's probably like my favorite girl of the season so far, but it's an otherwise underwhelming season, so that's not really saying much. I think as a show, it is not particularly interesting or unique right now. But the characters are enjoyable enough, and it's got a bright and funny tone that keeps me entertained throughout its duration. It's just I want like the plot to kind of, I don't know, make me want to care about it, because there's definitely substance there. It's just, I don't know. I guess the portrayal of it is just, it pales in comparison to the actual characters inside of the show.
Yeah, there's promise there. At this point, 3 episodes in, I can't say I know exactly what like the main plot is, other than we have the bad guy who goes to the cafe a lot, and then is it Takina? It's Chisato,
the girl who wants to just go work at the DA's office.
Yeah, exactly. She wants to go back to HQ and get out of this fucking bumfuck little town that she's stuck in. But other than that, it's hard to tell what exactly is going on, because it does, at this point, I mean, we're only 3 episodes in, have a kind of monster of the weeky sort of feel, where it's like, this is our mission for the week, or this is what we're going to do this week. But I'm enjoying it as well.
Is this the show it's armor-piercing rubber bullets?
There is that explode in red clouds of something. Yeah. Of what, I don't really know. But
it's just like fake smoke blood to emulate real blood. But like
smoke blood.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe so that the bad guys into thinking they were actually shot or something.
It's so Chisato can yell at them, "No, you stay down, I got you. I got you."
It's so cool.
Like playing airsoft with your friends in middle school.
Yeah, no, I got you. You're dead. That's what that whole piece is for. I mean, I'm enjoying the action movie elements of the whole thing. I mean, it reminds me of that other... I spent like the last hour trying to remember the title, because I think I even have the first season on DVD of like the exact same show, but older. About orphan girls that get picked up by the government and turned into hit people / bodyguards.
Gunslinger Girl?
Yeah, Gunslinger Girl. That's it. That's the one. I was thinking, oh, I'm just watching Gunslinger Girl in the year of our Lord 2022, for the most part. But yeah, I'm liking it so far. I like Chisato as well. I like how she's like super cocky when she's like shooting people.
Yeah,
like just dodging bullets because she can. I don't know, what is it? Fucking, she knows the trajectory
and her like insight or whatever.
Whatever that fucking means.
She just knows like where they're going to shoot.
She uses VATS.
Yeah, basically. Essentially. I'm waiting to see if there's like similar to the pharmacy, the parallel world pharmacy. I'm waiting to see if there's like going to be a sort of catch with her, because she's so talented and so great. And they've alluded to this like tower thing that got her stuck out in this little office
tower or whatever.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see, like, is there a catch with her? Like, is there something that, like, a secret she's trying to hide, or is she just like this bubbly and kind of like perfect in everything that she does for the most part? Or if there's something like, well, I used to be a homicidal maniac, or something
anything like that.
No, it won't be anything interesting.
At this point in time, I doubt it's really anything. Because even with the radio tower stuff, I don't think the show is pointing her character in a direction that gives it some sort of mysterious past. And I don't think that this is the type of show, at least at this point, that will do something like that, but I'm all about it. Like, cause
I'm always waiting for these teenage girl shows to just delve into psychological trauma. Like,
that is my shit. Like, that's
I'm
what I
waiting.
live for. But
I'm waiting for the hat, like the pin to drop on any of these shows. Anytime I start one, I'm like, all right, when are we gonna get to the part where the one girl has a breakdown?
Yeah, I mean, the subject matter of the show would make that fit more than most high school girl shows because they're all assassins anyway.
Yeah, the whole idea behind the show is actually terrifying.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, the first like scene where she's walking through Japan or whatever, and she's like, "I love how peaceful it is." I'm like, "This is just a secret police force that just kills people with impunity."
Yep.
This is an awful dystopian future.
I was wondering if the show was going to survive censorship after Abe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Teppen already got a fucking episode pulled.
Yeah.
But yeah, I looked more into that episode, and it makes complete sense why it was removed from airing.
I don't know if it has or if it hasn't, but they've certainly like shot people, and there was like gun deals that have been busted and all that stuff. There hasn't been any like political terrorism yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was in Teppen. It was an episode about assassinating the president.
Not really
pretty horrible timing.
Yeah, I could see how that would get pulled.
Yeah, that was supposed to be like a day or two later.
Yep. Yeah, I got so confused because fucking just episode 3 came out and I never heard about anything. But yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, that was the first thing I said when the show started out loud. Emily was in the kitchen doing dishes, and I was like, this show is terrifying already. Like, this is a fucked up universe that this show takes place in, that there's just these girls that will just kill you in the street. They'll disappear you immediately if something is like if you're going to do a crime. But they're cute. So that covers it up.
Yeah.
That makes it okay. Yeah, they're allowed. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah. Exactly. Cute girls can do whatever they want. It's just how it works. Yeah, I'm digging it so far. I like the action movie vibes that it runs into a lot. Like when what did they do in the car with Walnut? Like they launched off the side of a hill and then shot a drone out from under it, and then she leaned out the window and shot something else while the car did like barrel rolls in fucking midair. Like, this is just ridiculous. I mean, it gets off to a really good start where the one main girl just waist hip fires that M249 machine gun, which has no recoil somehow, but just and destroys that entire like gun.
It has to have recoil. It's in the name of the show.
That's the only recoil present is in the title of the show. At this point, because she just hip fires that thing and makes it look like it's easy. I don't even know how she got it in that building. I guess they must have brought it in earlier. It's a huge gun, but yeah, I started watching it mainly because I thought it looked interesting, and I was like, oh, it's an original show. And then I saw you guys' list had them, and I was thinking, oh, I'll watch it too, just so I can have something to talk about, because no one else is gonna watch Prince of Tennis other than me. So
so you just watched it all today?
Yeah, I watched all three episodes today.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so I guess that's another, it goes to show that I'm enjoying it, that I watch 3 episodes in a row, which I don't do very often anymore. Of one show, I'll watch like 3 different shows in a day or something, but I rarely watch like 3 or 4 episodes of one in a row unless something about it has me hooked.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, it's the cute girls shooting guns all the time. And then punching each other in the face. That was another thing that happened too. So they're not afraid to punch each other in the face and shoot each other pretty brutally, granted with paintballs, but still like in the face. So yeah. Let's see. DJ, you had it at what, a B- and a B-? Yeah. And then I think
that sounds right. It's got potential to go up if the story can grab me, but right now it's just another cute characters that I like show. That's also well animated.
Yeah, I liked the latest episode, the third episode, a lot. I think it was showing it going in a good direction.
Yeah,
especially for
the best
Chisato's
episode
character.
so far.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like how they're kind of putting her storyline under this like corporate like cover up espionage sort of thing where it's just like she got shafted.
Mhm.
Granted, she didn't do what she was supposed to do, but still got shafted in the end. Plus, I thought it was a good reminder in a way that all these girls are teenagers because the second they get to the DA office area, there's just like rumor mongering everywhere.
Yeah.
Like typical teenage shit.
Yeah, it's basically just high school, but also they murder people in cold blood
Yep. All the time.
all the time.
So yeah, I think that's a fun one to watch. I think I may try to get my brother to watch it because I'm like, this is interesting enough, and I was concerned that there was going to be like some gratuitous fan service stuff, but it's been good about that so far. I think like
Some changing.
yeah, but at least it's in context.
Useful.
Yeah.
Like
It's in context and they don't show you anything and don't focus on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it isn't like they're having a full conversation while the camera is just on her ass.
Right.
This
Or-
is not
or whatever.
Miyako-chan, so.
Exactly. So yeah,
yeah.
it hasn't been gratuitous or anything, and it's just like, oh, it's changing, but they're in a locker room getting changed for a purpose, and you don't see anything, and the scene's like 5 seconds long.
Yeah.
So yeah, that gets passing grade for me on that point.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely the most popular show on my Discord right now. Like that's the one that everybody's talking about.
I can understand it. It's got a lot of crowd pleasing elements because it has cute girls, but also they're like doing actiony shit that's fun to look at, and there's technology and hackers and all this other stuff.
Cute girls and guns.
Yeah, cute girls and guns. That's a pretty powerful combination.
The combination very seldomly fails.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Everyone
like an
loves girls
S tier
and guns.
combo.
Yeah, and Gunslinger Girl is like kind of a downer, which makes sense. This show is relatively fun. It's a huge downer. So
Yeah, Gunslinger Girl is a huge downer, but it's a more logical conclusion to what that universe would be like.
exactly. This is like it's Funslinger Girl,
Funslinger.
and that it is a title candidate.
Yeah, I'm glad I picked it up. So if you guys have other stuff, I don't know, Castro, if you had anything else you wanted to say about it, because it's mainly been DJ and I talking about it.
No, I agree with you guys. Chisato is a lot of fun. It's going in good directions. Got a fun premise, good action vibes, good animation, and it's an original, which is always nice.
Yeah, I like how Chisato watches shitty action movies while doing like shitty action movie stuff. It's like a Hot Fuzz moment. Because the Blu-rays on her coffee table were like Hard Guy and Bullet Front and all these like shitty action movie titles, and then she just goes out and does shitty action movie stuff.
And that's her mysterious backstory. She just got good at all of that from watching so many action films.
So she's Nick Frost from Hot Fuzz. I would be okay with this. That would be a perfectly fine way that this unfolds. Is that's how she got so good, is just by watching shit like Die Hard all the time. Yeah, we can certainly move on at this point. Bran, is there anything that you want to talk about off of your list that we haven't already, since we did talk about Devils of Part-Timer? I know you have Made in Abyss, and so does Kestrel, and that's a huge hype up, type show, big A-list name.
Yeah, we could definitely talk Made in Abyss. I was worried a week ago because I've been busy, and I was like, oh man, I gotta like catch up on stuff. But I also had to watch the Dawn of the Deep Soul, the movie, before. That is required reading. And I actually watched it last night so that I could watch the first episode of season 2 today. So I ended my weekend on some depression, but good depression. It was a good movie. And then, I enjoyed the first episode of the new season. I feel like this show its strongest element is definitely its world building, and it's cool to see them kind of expand outside of the main trio for a second and kind of build up to something that they're inevitably going to run into, and then it transitioned really nicely into the very end of the movie going into it. So I'd only watched the first episode, but yeah, it's off to a good start.
Yeah, so there are 2 episodes that's out. Yeah, third one comes out tomorrow. Yeah, since the first season aired, I have read all of the manga that's been released in English, which is well ahead of the anime now. So I've read, this might be a 2-core season. I read maybe everything it's going to cover. I might be a little bit behind by the end of it, but I generally know what's happening now. And yeah, I mean, the adaptation is very consistent with the first season, which is good, really good direction, animation, music, everything. The manga is kind of like, I don't know, it's a little harder to follow, just with the way the artwork is laid out and stuff. So the anime adaptation, makes it a lot more bright and vibrant and clear cut, good line art and everything. So yeah, it's nice to finally see this content in the form that I originally experienced the series. And yeah, the way that they kind of intersected the past and the present and the ways that they parallel each other, and the inevitability that they're going to come across each other in the future as well, was a good way to start the season. Kind of a bold choice, because most of the first episode of this season does not feature any established characters, and it's clearly far in the past. So yeah, it's an interesting move, but I think it was a good way to kind of set up a prologue for this arc that the season is covering.
I'm surprised you said that. I'm surprised you said that there's still a lot of source material left, because I figured that by the end of this, if it was like 2-core, that it would be near the wrapping point, because they're getting to the final layer of the abyss or whatever. But that's cool to know that it's not going to be like we got here's a big mind fuck and it's over. So I'm excited to see what's down there.
There's a lot going on in this arc. It's based, I don't know where it is in Japan, and I might be a volume or 2 behind in the English release. But this arc is basically still going on from what I last read. So it makes sense that the season, I think, is going to be 2 cores, because yeah, it's much longer than any of the storylines we've gotten prior. And yeah, it's the kind of show where like it has this kind of video game formula that it seems like it should be fairly predictable where it's going to go, but it's just constantly subverting expectations and going in crazy directions, just coming up with new concepts that it's playing with. Like the movie was a great example of that. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of unexpected stuff in it, and as far as I know, the manga isn't anywhere close to finishing, which means that an hour after we finish recording, they're going to announce the end of the manga.
Yep.
But yeah, it's I think it's still got a lot of material left. So let's see, the first season covered 3 volumes, then the movie covered 2, and there's 11 out so far. So yeah, there's more material left than has been covered, and it's still going strong and not ending anytime soon, as far as I can tell.
Well, after experiencing Promised Neverland Season 2 and reading Goldie Pond, thinking that's about enough to be covered, I will always be a little tepid on thinking I've read enough before the anime comes out. But
yeah,
I think the pacing for the show has been good so far. So
yeah, I'm honestly kind of surprised that they're letting the pacing kind of be on the slower side so far. Like, not a lot has happened in the 2 episodes of this season so far. Like I said, a lot of the first one was basically a prologue, which has a lot to dig into, but not necessarily a lot of forward progression, especially with it being this flashback of characters you don't know yet. But yeah, I think it's taken its time. It's certainly not trying to rush anything. So yeah, I think some people, coming off of the highs of the first season and the movie, this could be kind of a slow reintroduction after all this time. But yeah, like I said, there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff, so it's going to be worth it.
Yeah. And as expected, the soundtrack slaps. Kevin Penkin killing it again.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Great. I mean, he's using a lot of the same tracks from the first season, but definitely some great new ones as always. Some new arrangements of classic ones, and another big new vocal song to kick off the new season.
Yeah.
DJ, you ever watch Made in Abyss?
No, and I was talking about it earlier today, and I know that it's a show that I'd love, but I just
you said you were going to watch it before the second season.
I lied. I've said a lot of things, and I've followed through on very few of them. This is unfortunately another casualty of that, and I still want to. Even Becca has watched it, but I don't know. It's just I can't bring myself to doing it. What's it on? Is that on a Crunchyroll or High Dive? Or?
Yeah, it's all Sentai. So it's
all Sentai. Okay, yeah. Yeah, well, I have High Dive now, so maybe I'll watch it.
Is the movie on High Dive, though, or is that Amazon? Or
I think the movie should be on High Dive.
There's also
is it not? I don't know. I have it on Blu-ray, so I never needed to, but I assume it's on High Dive.
It probably is. Kess, did you watch the first two compilation movies by chance?
Yeah, I watched the third one when it was available for digital rental at some point, and then the Blu-ray trilogy came out, so then I watched all three of them in order.
Gotcha. Would you say, I guess if it's easier for DJ, would you say the movie trilogy does a good job, or would you recommend the show into the third movie?
Yeah, just watch the show and then the third movie. It's one core, you can get through it. It's not worth having stuff cut out to watch it in two movies.
True.
Yeah, if I watched it, I'd watch the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, one day. Maybe, I don't know. If I get bored, because I'm going to New Jersey for a few days, if I get bored there, I'll watch it or something.
The abyss of
bored in New Jersey?
True.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the highlights I'm looking forward to for the season. So, out of the few things I'm even watching, so
yeah, it's been 5 years.
You go.
I was just gonna say it's been 5 years since we've gotten any new material other than one movie. So yeah, it's very exciting to finally have it back.
It would definitely be nice to have a show that I really like this season, because there's normally at least one, and I just don't have that this season so far. So
I gotta know about this "my stepsister is my ex-girlfriend" nonsense.
What do you have to know exactly? Because it's just another generic light novel.
Yeah, that's too it's right there.
Okay, no.
I guess it's more is it played off as legitimately awkward all the time, or is it
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously still some romantic tension, but the way it works, and it's another really cliche just anime intro, but the dude used to date this girl, they broke up, and then his mom got together with that girl's dad, and now they live together. And so it's okay, well, there were romantic feelings that had since faded, but they are now rekindling because we are in the same house. And that's just what the show is so far. And I don't really expect it to get any deeper than that. It's just more generic harem stuff. And it's not even well animated or anything. There's really nothing good about it. It's just another show.
It's better than two others you got going on. It's got something.
Yeah. 4 others include the drop.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. So Engage Kiss is the fucking most generic thing that I've ever watched, and I could not do it anymore. It's not necessarily bad. I've just seen it 15 times before, and it's no longer interesting. The biggest disappointment of this season, though, is Prima Doll, And that is just it's extra upsetting because it's a Key property, and I love Key, and Kai, who is one of my favorite writers, is playing a big part in writing this, and it's just been so bad so far. It like takes all of the bad things that Key does and just makes those into its own show. And there's been nothing interesting so far, and the only silver lining is that the voice cast is good. But it's just fucking boring and pointless, and it's just weird noises for the whole show.
Headphone listen, I see.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't bother after the last several Key properties disappointed me.
Yeah, this is because even though the last several Key properties have also disappointed me in some regard, I've still liked them overall. I cannot say that about this, and it has disappointed me from the get-go. And I'm going to keep watching for now just because I'm holding out hope. It's just not a good first impression. I don't even know what the show is about yet. And
oof, that's not good.
Yeah, it's not. I really hope that things happen. And they might, because like the opening animation is like emotional for 10 seconds, so that's cool. But that's really been the height of the show so far. Like this one still from the opening.
Wowzers. Yeah, that's
yes.
Maybe this will be. You said that there were several disappointing ones in a row. Maybe this will be like the rock bottom before it springs back up with the one after.
Yeah, well, I can't see Tokyo Mew Mew having any chance of becoming good. So Prima Doll could at least take that spot.
That makes it a top 10 in the season.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be a solid landmark to have.
How do you fuck up a magical girl show?
It's really poorly acted, and it feels dated, which isn't necessarily
the lowest hanging
bad
fruit.
thing.
You know, it's like
Yeah, like I fucking love magical girls, so I'm obviously watching it, but it's so not good. It's just really a low quality show overall, like all around in terms of production value and acting.
Do you love magical girls for young girls from 20 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I love Sailor Moon, so
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't really have any further thoughts on Tokyo Mew Mew or Prima Doll, other than they're just not good yet, and they probably won't be, but I'm holding out hope.
Could you see Prima Doll taking the spot of my stepsister is my ex-girlfriend, though?
If there are substantial changes in the way the quote-unquote story of Prima Doll is told, I can see that happening. But they have to create a story first, and I do not have faith at this point in time that is a thing that they actually have.
Yeah, so it's interesting looking at, because, you know, this is not based on a visual novel, but it's also not just an anime original. It's part of this multimedia project by Key. So it's got like toys, a short story, and a web novel. So I don't know if that's the strongest foundation for having great storytelling. That might be part of the issue.
Yeah, I'm gonna hope it is. It's been nothing but a letdown so far.
Hey man, Transformers and He-Man had toys first, and those are legendary properties. There's always hope.
Is there?
Always. Yeah. Listen, I'm trying to be supportive of you. By comparing your magical girl show to transforming cars and trucks from the 1980s.
In another 30 years, we'll have Michael Bay's Prima Doll.
At least it would give it something.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I'm glad you were able to to expand on some of the bottom shows on your list.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to make it through the duration of an episode.
I appreciate all the hard work you're putting in.
I do this for you guys. Consume media for the sole purpose of complaining about it.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a lot of the anime community specifically.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, well, we can feel free to move on then to something else to relieve DJ of his agony.
There's not much that will relieve me of my agony this season. I have complaints about most things I watch.
Yeah,
You're just going to stay in your life in general.
I'm actually going to make DJ double down on the agony because
Nice.
I want to hear him talk about Rent a Girlfriend because I specifically chose not to watch the second season because the first one was such like an adrenaline rush of cringe. I had to pause several times throughout each
that's
episode.
a really good way of describing the show, and that's all it is. It has probably my least favorite protagonist of anything ever, and that's counting shit like Mirai Nikki. It's fucking I don't remember Kazuya. Yeah, fuck Kazuya. He is the most beta ass fucking whiny bitch of a character that has ever existed, and he spends the entire show just jerking off to fucking all of the girls that are around him, and it's the dumbest shit. And it's so bad, and it makes all of the girls who for some reason like him 10 times worse, because why do they like him so much? It doesn't make any sense. The art's good though, so that's nice, but as a show, the premise is fucking dumb, the characters are stupid, and the protagonist is the worst. Fuck Rent a Girlfriend. Can't wait to finish the second season.
Yeah, say B-. You had a way more emotional response than the other shows. Is that why it's a little bit higher? Is that it made you angrier?
It's because there's like so much artistic promise in this, and there are like so many things that could be done to make it like an above average harem, but it doesn't execute any of those things. It's just almost there in so many different ways, and it's infuriating because it's so close to being something worth watching, and I really hope it becomes that. It just probably won't until it gets a new fucking protagonist.
Is it exactly what it's at? Like, what is this? Another one where the title is exactly what it's about? Like,
kind of yes, kind of no. So there's this app where it's like Uber for girls, and you just get a girl to go out with you, and everybody's like, wow, he has a girlfriend and he looks cool with that girlfriend. But she's just a rental, and after the date is over, you pay her and she leaves. And the guy starts falling for this girlfriend that he rents, but she's just a fucking rental girlfriend, and so she's like, I don't like you. And she's also a tsundere, so she does like him, but not right away. And that's the whole show.
It sounds
and
like
there are other rental girlfriends who also get thrown into the mix, who all start liking this one extremely beta dude who does nothing correctly because he is the protagonist. That is why they like him.
It sounds like the PG-13 version of like a story where dude falls in love with like the whore, and like,
man, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Mhm.
I was like, this sounds like just the slightly more illegal but still morally dubious version of that storyline.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but probably because that sounds a lot like what this has done so far.
Except it's that every whore and other female in the world falls in love with this absolute piece of shit because it's anime.
Yes, exactly.
But by the end of the first season, I was basically rooting for Mommy because I was like, yes, this destructive bitch needs to tear this man down.
She's like the only person I like enjoy watching because she's the only one that's like different from the rest of them who just unabashedly like him for no reason. She's just like a fucking bitch, and I just want her to ruin this guy's life because I dislike him so much.
You want a School Days ending?
I really do. There is no show that I want a School Days ending for more than this.
I love
It's
the
an
next
A+ maneuver.
So why are you watching this again?
Because the girls are cute and I want it to get better. And also, like, I don't know, it's fun to complain about this show.
Okay, that's fair.
I hate watching.
DJ is the Sisyphus
really
of anime. Just like pushing that boulder, bro.
Yeah.
At least I can be passionate about it, okay?
That is true. He can be passionate about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier to talk about the horrible things than the good things.
Yeah, it instills great feelings in me that are not great in positive context, but they are large feelings that I like talking about.
I almost want to watch it just so we can just blow up about it on the season end podcast.
Oh, fucking bad.
You should, Brandon, do it. Go on.
Oh, shit.
After all that, after all that, do it. Start it.
True. Misery does love company.
See how far you get.
Oh.
I think we can go ahead and move into something that's at least a good, so to speak. I know that on the lists there's still a shared show with Overlord, and I'm assuming 4 because it's the 4th season.
Yeah.
Or Core or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about that for a little bit? Every time the show comes up in my news feed, I'm always surprised that it's both popular and has 4 cores. I don't know why. I'm just like, oh, this show's still going. People must like it. I'm surprised.
It has 20 fat fucking volumes and still going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a lot going on.
Light novel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's up to 16 volumes now, and yeah, it's still running.
I feel like it's for people that are into Log Horizon, kind of like civilization building porn, just running a kingdom and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. It's just taking me a while to remember character names and stuff because they just kind of jump right into it and they're like, oh, we got to sign all these bills and oh, this person's coming to meet the king and blah 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 blah, and I don't remember jack shit, but they're fun characters, so I'm still watching it.
Yeah, this and Classroom of the Elite are 2 shows this season that I had started with the anime, then started getting light novels and reading them, and reading material past the anime and seeing how much better the light novels were. And the Classroom of the Elite adaptation has a lot of problems. Overlord is a pretty good adaptation, but with a lot of these, you still just miss out on a lot from just not being able to spend as much time in the characters' heads. And you get a little bit of that in the anime adaptation, and it's fun. It's Log Horizon, but all of the main characters are undead villains who will just commit genocide. But also they're kind of fun and quirky. And the main character under his evil lich shell is a nerdy salaryman who just got stuck in his game world. So yeah, it's a fun premise and they have a lot of fun with it. And occasionally it gets really dark and brutal and morally ambiguous. And most of the main characters are kind of awful villains. But that's what makes it interesting. And the way that he kind of balances his human past and the memories that he has from that, and then these inherent qualities of a monster that have been gradually taking him over. You kind of see this whiplash between his ideals and then the atrocities that he ends up committing, and you can't really reconcile the two, and he doesn't really understand it either. So yeah, it's a very interesting premise that has gone in some cool directions over time.
That's cool. I didn't realize it was more of a society world building type thing. I figured just, obviously from being completely ignorant of the show and only seeing, screenshots and stuff, it was just this guy's a really powerful wizard mage bad guy, but is also kind of a good guy, even though he's a bad guy. And then they just do action adventure shenanigans.
Yeah, it's cool because he has a lot of different personas within himself and that he presents externally. He wants some things that are, for the good of people. And he wants to build this kingdom and connect with people from his past. And be a good guy sometimes, but then his entire kingdom is villainous monsters, basically. So he ends up falling into doing some horrible things. But then he also kind of balances it by having this other persona as a knight who goes off and does like MMO RPG action adventure bullshit. And nobody knows that it's him. So yeah, it's got a lot of different elements going on.
I need to get back into that. I really enjoyed the first season, and then I like never picked up the rest of it. So,
well, still going strong. And you said there's like 20 fucking books.
Yeah,
so
16 volumes, and some of them are very thick.
So there's plenty of source material.
Yeah.
how many isekais can I fit in this box that is my head?
This is one of the best ones, at least from the source material. Like I said, it's not the best isekai anime, but it's got really strong source material, and the adaptation is pretty good.
I mean, it's been a hot minute since we've had like an isekai anime that's been like, really, really good. Like, I mean, like, like universally beloved.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any that are universally beloved. Like DJ and I will tell you that Mushoku Tensei was really great.
12 Kingdoms.
12 Kingdoms was good, but that was like before the isekai boom.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. Like, back when, it wasn't like pure wish fulfillment for teenage men. So
yeah.
I was going to say Escaflowne, but I really don't know.
Escaflowne is great until the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to burn it in Hellfire.
Yeah.
Because it has a really stupid ending.
And I personally think the movie also sucks.
And the movie's no good too, yeah.
I like the movie soundtrack, but it just kind of, the pacing was all over the place.
Oh, the show's got a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's Yoko Kanno, but like...
that's it.
Yeah. Main character just makes really stupid decisions towards the end of the series, so, Okay, now my head is in rage space, so yeah, please move on.
Sure. There's still plenty of things on lists to talk about. Though I'm going to be selfish and just do very quickly Prince of Tennis for anybody who cares that's listening. Yo, the show's fucking great. It didn't skip a beat. We were off playing tennis in like 5 fucking minutes, baby. It's like I never stopped watching the show. I'm loving every minute of it. I mean, that's also extreme bias and nostalgia talking. But man, if you like your pretty boys and your 14-year-old, 45-year-olds, this is your jam. I think in the first 2 episodes, we had loads of tennis. We had stupid nicknames, because Prince of Tennis is loaded with people's nicknames where it's like, oh, that's Kestrel Swift, aka the Tiger Mountain of the 7 Winds, or whatever, and people take that shit seriously. We have brand new like special moves that are being whipped out that have their own stupid names, like triple counter White Wolf. One that was called, I had it up here on Google because I was trying to remember what it was when I was talking to Emily about it, but it was called like Huckleberry Storm or some bullshit. Like, it's fantastic. I'm so glad it's back, and seeing all the old characters and some new faces I don't recognize and things like Fuji and Ryoma and Sonata and all the guys that were always at the top of the Valentine's Day chocolates leaderboards or whatever are back. And I'm sure that studio, whoever makes this anime, is going to be flooded with that Valentine's Day chocolate shit again now that it's back on TV. Especially with the better, kind of like, I don't know if better art style, but definitely more modern, like a good blend of sort of modern art style without really changing what characters fundamentally looked like. So they do look kind of dated sometimes because it feels like the idea of what like an anime pretty boy has changed a little bit since Prince of Tennis came out, because a lot of these guys are like really long spiky hair guys with like super slender faces. And I feel like that's changed a little bit, but for the most part, yeah, it's been great. It's like I never left. So anybody who is looking forward to watching this or is interested that used to watch it, it's been amazing. Ryoma plays for the USA now, so fucking USA. But yeah, it's been fantastic, and they're just going right into the World Cup, so we're getting tennis immediately. I think a guy got hit in the face with a tennis ball so hard that it blew him off the court and into the back wall so hard that the wall cracked. And then he just got up. Like it was no big fucking deal. The guy's name was Duke. And when he did it, he yelled home run after he hit the ball right in the dude's face. He just yelled home run because he's a baseball themed tennis player. It's fucking great. Yeah, I'm loving it.
Checks out.
Yeah. Like I'm never gonna sit here and tell anybody that like Prince of Tennis has a fantastic story with super deep characters that are great. It's dumb, stupid shit. But it's super fun to watch. It does everything with like its sport crazily that I wish Birdie Wing was able to establish and
I was just gonna bring up Birdie Wing and ask what makes this so good and Birdie Wing so bad.
I think it's just like I was thinking about that too when I was watching it. And I think it's just the nature of the game being adversarial. Like tennis is 1v1 or 2v2, that when you pull out the special moves, you can, really build up hype by doing them. I think it's also just like, I do care about the characters to a certain extent. And that's mainly because like I've had more time with them and more experience in the sport that's being played and things like that. But I guess it's just more like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, really. It feels more natural from Prince of Tennis in a way, and I think it's because tennis has the ability to be more crazy and have more insane athletics, where golf just doesn't. So it's easier for golf to go into too crazy to the point where it's like unwatchable, but tennis, they could just do crazy shit all the time or whatever because it's a naturally intense athletic endeavor. So that certainly helps.
It also sounds like Birdie Wing is severely lacking in a Valentine's chocolate power system.
Yeah, they don't have that at all, and I think that's huge. Like, how am I supposed to know which person I like the best if it isn't based off of the rankings of how much chocolate was sent to the office that makes or publishes the anime/manga?
Just for reference, what season of Prince of Tennis is this? Because this thing's been around for a while.
Well, there was Prince of Tennis. There was Prince of Tennis 2. New Prince of Tennis. I think this may be the fourth season.
Yeah, it looks like it gets really complicated because it jumps around between TV series and OVAs and TV specials and movies.
Yeah, I'm mainly just thinking of the TV shows.
Yeah.
Because I haven't really watched any of like the OVAs and specials and things like that because those are a little bit harder to find. So I mainly watch like the original show and then Prince of Tennis 2 and then new Prince of Tennis and then this. Like, it just had that really shitty movie that came out a little bit ago, which I don't know if that's canon. It probably is. That was like 3D CGI with a rap battle.
Right. A lot of those these days.
Yeah, there's a lot of those rap battles just happening in anime these days, and Prince of Tennis just happened to have one as well. So, yeah, that would be my best guess, like fourth season or so. But what's great is there have been 4 seasons and 300 or so episodes combined probably between them, especially by the end of this, somewhere between like 250 and 300. But it's still only taken place in like the span of a year and a half or 2 years.
Yep.
So nobody's
One Piece
aged.
style.
Yeah, nobody's aged in any real way. And they've experienced an entire lifetime worth of shit.
Just like the Simpsons effect.
The last episode of Prince of Tennis that aired on television was on my 20th birthday. I'm now 30.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, go out and, obviously it's not a great place to just start because it just throws you right into tennis with all the characters doing all this stuff and they don't even go to school anymore. Like, we're in like summer in Australia at this World Cup thing. So I can't really say like, jump right in here and you'll be perfectly fine. Definitely not. But you could probably get away with like, if you really wanted to, just like reading Wikipedia stuff, or they did some movie like re-releases of some of the matches that were really important that you might be able to do. But yeah, either way, this show is great and I'm loving it. So that's what I'll look forward to every week. Cute girls shooting guns and cute boys playing world destroying tennis. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about on your respective lists? I know, Kestrel, you have a couple like near the top, but I know most of the time when I ask you about One Piece, it's just like One Piece is good, and then we move on.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much to say about One Piece every few weeks when it's been running for 25 years. It's every few episodes is like phenomenally directed. Every few episodes is phenomenally animated. It's really good material in the story, and there's not a ton of like masterpieces this season to compete with it. So yeah, that's One Piece.
Is there a release date for the Red movie coming stateside yet?
I don't know if there's an exact date yet, but I think it is October sometime.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. Fallish.
Okay. My One Piece reading update. I'm in the middle of Fishman Island, so I'm on my way.
Mm. Yeah, I just to plug a completely unrelated podcast, the One Piece podcast just did their latest ranking of all of the arcs of One Piece, which was 10 hours long.
Ooh.
So
Jesus.
Go check that out. It's fun
been
listen.
like 10 years since I listened to that podcast.
Yeah. They did their last ranking 7 years ago, and there have been 2 arcs since then.
Yeah, maybe that checks out.
Anyway, One Piece is good. And the anime is also good now, which it was not for a while.
Yeah, for a long while. It was not.
Yeah.
Took a while to get back there. Weirdly enough.
Yeah, it went from good pacing and pretty good direction to bad pacing, to bad pacing and bad everything, to phenomenal direction and animation, but still kind of bad pacing because unless they take off, they can't, because the arcs last for 5 years, so they can't insert like filler arcs anyway.
I was gonna say, have they ever taken off? I feel like the anime
go. The longest breaks that anime series has ever had were in the past 2 years for COVID and the Toei hack, which were each like a few weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They used to, way back in the day, have filler arcs.
Yeah.
Used to.
But Oda's writing does not afford them an opportunity to insert original material anymore. And also, Oda occasionally takes a break because his editors don't want him to die.
Yeah, the rest of his staff are like, you have to go on vacation now.
Yeah. So because of that, it also means that the anime pacing has to drag out even more. They can't even do 1 chapter per episode because there's not, 4 or 5 chapters coming out a month. There's 3.
I do think it's funny that they're all like, please, you have to keep yourself as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
At least they're aware.
Yeah. You don't want the golden goose to die.
Alrighty, is there anything else? I know there's at least one more show that a couple of people have in common here, that that vampire one. I'm not sure if anybody wanted to really chat about that for a few minutes, or say I'm clean out of shows now. I've got all my shit covered. So
yeah,
I've only watched the first episode of that show, and it has a really interesting aesthetic to it.
Mhm.
That's been like the standout thing for the show so far. Plot wise, I don't know much about it other than just vampire meets kid, and they do vampire stuff together. But I would like to comment that, and this might sound strange, like a strange complaint to have with a show, but the boobs are drawn very strangely.
It's true.
In this, and they're all very pointy, and it's odd.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't. It's not very consistent from scene to scene where her nipples are pointing. I would say, Kane, from what I've gathered from what people are saying, a lot of people are saying Monogatari vibes and like FLCL vibes, which I kind of get. It's very. I'm surprised. I was surprisingly entertained by it for a show that is a lot of just like dialogue and just like walking around an empty city at night. I like the character interactions a lot. The like DJ said, the art direction for the nighttime is like really cool, and the aesthetic. It's just like vibes, just setting a vibe. It's kind of like the whole point so far, I guess. But I do have an interesting fact I learned about the show. So the band that does the ED and the insert song, they have a song called Call of the Night. And that was the inspiration for the title of the series when they first wrote it. And now they're doing the songs for the show, which I think is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, but I was it's faring better than I expected, because his previous work, Dagashi Kashi, was like fun, but like never anything more than like, this is the show I watch when I'm snacking and just kind of like scrolling through my phone. But Call of the Night's definitely got my attention a little more, and it's a chill time. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. So I'm reviewing this one, and yeah, the Dagashi Kashi guy. I found it funny that like his protagonist before looked like a guy who can't get enough sleep and a girl who's going to attack you and suck your blood. And so his next series, he just made those the actual attributes of those characters.
That is really funny.
But yeah,
same too. Like, I don't think there's a difference in the character design.
Right. He's just like, well, this is what they look like already, so I'll just make it the plot time.
Yeah. I'm used to drawing it, so why not?
Yeah. So yeah, the series is directed by Tomoyuki Itomura, who did direct most of the Monogatari series. And then he left Shaft and directed Vanitas over the past couple of years, which ironically means that everything he's ever directed is about sexy vampires. But yeah,
got a niche.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can make a living off that.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I've seen so many Shaft head tilts. Now it all makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, so he definitely brings a lot of that flair that he kind of mastered at Shaft on the Monogatari series over to this work. And yeah, I think his direction and the atmosphere and the aesthetic of like the nocturnal life and a city that's basically devoid of humans because everyone's asleep and it's just that nighttime feel is kind of unique. I like it. It's got good vibes, like you said. And yeah, I think the dialogue and the interactions between the characters and how it like, it uses the inherent sexuality of vampires without getting trashy like anime often does. And the main character is not like beta bitch boy about it. He like reacts like you would expect someone to react in that situation. So yeah, I like the characters and their dynamics and chemistry. So I think it has potential. It is a lot of not much happening so far. But yeah, I think if they keep it up and inject some kind of interesting story into it, I think it could be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if, because I do like the like empty city just kind of strolling around vibes, but at the same time, I do kind of wish it was, a little more lively. They've literally met 3 drunk dudes and that's it. And they've met them again in the second episode. I'm like, are these the only people in this big city? These 5 people. So it would be
it's
cool.
Like Night City from Cyberpunk. Huge city, 7 people living in it.
Yeah, exactly. The same dudes walking the same walk cycle. But yeah, that's my one complaint so far, but I don't really think that's what the show is going for anyways. It's kind of more the relationship, character dynamic stuff, so we'll see. I like it so far. It's one of those shows that could peter out at the middle and lose my interest, but that's yet to be the case for the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's definitely something that feels unique and interesting enough at first, but also is kind of simple enough in its storytelling so far that if it doesn't pick up story-wise, it will be kind of boring before too long. So it definitely has to balance those aspects going forward.
Yeah.
DJ, talk about your top show this season.
My top show of the season is Teppen. It's fucking weird, and it's a style of show I haven't seen before, and it's based on a form of comedy I have very little exposure to, and it's that sort of Japanese stage comedy where it's just like 2 people and they just like talk in rapid succession and like tell stories and like bicker off of each other, and it's an entire show based around groups of 3 girls living in a dorm who do that form of comedy and are participating in a competition for that comedy. But the whole show is done in we're just going to talk the entire time like it is a stand-up comedy act. And there's like just shit happening in the background that's like giving life to what they're telling you. And it's really interesting. And it's just pure absurdity, just rapid fire absurdity every week. And I'm all about it. And it's not really gripping or anything. It's just super interesting and unlike anything I've ever seen before. So that's why that's my favorite show of the season. Not because it's fantastic, but because it is just unique.
So this is like that comedy duo stuff that Emily and I used to watch, that one show. It was on Amazon, Documental, that was just about a bunch of Japanese comedians trying to make each other laugh. Yeah. And a lot of them were in like duos.
Yeah, it's like that. It's right? Just that turned into an anime.
Wow.
Manzai is the style, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's an interesting premise, and it's just like another part of Japanese culture that I have zero exposure to, and there is now a show that tells me all about that culture. And I've been really liking those shows lately.
You watched the Rakugo show yet?
That was one of the shows that I died on because of the whole move to Texas thing. But I've heard nothing but like high praise for the later parts of that show. The first few episodes didn't really stick out for me, but that's definitely like a type of thing that I'd like to go back and watch, because that's part of the weird Japanese culture shows that I just want to know more about.
Yeah.
To further the hype on it, I'd say Rakugo Shinju is one of my favorite anime of the last decade, so definitely worth a watch. But I think what might be more your speed, DJ, is Joshiraku, if you haven't watched it, which is just like 5 cute girls doing Rakugo, and just that one's
now
cool.
you've got
I still have to watch Saki.
Now
too,
you've done it.
Cute girls doing mahjong. So
oh yeah, that's right. That's my entire mahjong experience, is that show.
I hear it's very over the top at times.
another just random because it popped in my head. Manzai manga recommendation. Shoha Shoten, which is art by Takeshi Obata. So
That's right. Yeah.
that one's been pretty good so far. It does not have like a consistent release schedule. It gets like a chapter every 2 months or so, but yeah, that one's cool if you're into the art, which is what he Death Note and Bakuman.
Yeah. Death Note, Bakuman, the masterpiece that is Platinum End, Hikaru no Go.
Yeah.
All that real pretty shit.
Yeah. Something about Japanese fringe entertainment. So those shows tend to get me. Like Chihaya Furu, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
That's another show I want to watch.
Yeah, I think the manga just ended like.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's supposed to be ending, or ended, something like that.
Yeah, sometime this month. Yeah.
Oof. Still gotta watch the 3rd season of that.
It was that was the one that's about like poems and word games, right? Like it's almost like a fill in the blank kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they're playing essentially like, what's that game where memory? They're playing memory.
Yeah.
That's all. That's like, except for it's like speed memory, so it's memory combined with the card game Slap. Basically, is.
Yeah.
Neat.
It's on the weird like toting the line between is it sports anime?
And it's
Very, very
sport.
true.
Cool. Does anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Or if not, we can move on to recommendations and things. I know we've kind of covered a lot of the lists here, at least people's top shows, I think. Yeah. And then unfortunately for DJ, a lot of the bottom shows.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I feel strongly about in a good way this season, so
Not a great season overall, I would say.
no. Next season and the one after that look good so far, though. So.
Speak for yourselves. Prince of Tennis anime of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it is your favorite anime of all time, and it hasn't had a TV show in over a decade, so definitely your season.
Yep, this season will be the best season by default.
I guess real quickly, I did want to talk briefly about Yuredeco, just because being a resident Science Saru simp, I feel like their shows usually go a bit underwatched, but I would definitely recommend at least trying the first episode out. Very much feels like almost a spiritual successor to Kaiba, which, Masaki Uasa show, but it's his former studio doing it, and but a lot more of like a bubbly aesthetic and like the whole contemporary like social media commentary. So it's kind of like the novel Snow Crash or like Decadence, which aired like 2 years ago or so. But yeah, really, really beautiful aesthetically, and I think it's gonna push on some cool social media-esque topics that I think they always push these like big brain themes and stuff. So first episode was really fun, so I'm looking forward to that one definitely. But that's because I literally could barely scrape together 5 shows to watch this season. Yes, Yuredeco. Watch that.
Excellent. Good stuff. Good stuff. Kestrel, anything else from you?
Not really. Yeah, that's all I have any strong opinions on.
Cool beans. DJ, how about yourself?
For shows this season, I'm good. I don't have to talk about anything else.
All right. Sounds good. Well, then why don't we just shift on over into recommendations if anybody has any of them, and then we can sign off for the evening.
I have one.
Sure.
And I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to recommend Lessons in Love because I just released.
What a surprise!
Yeah. Well, no, this is a monumental moment because I just remade the complete first chapter of my game, and I no longer feel shitty about people playing it because the beginning is good now and it's no longer just a sex fest. So hooray! The entire first chapter has been remade. It's like another fucking 40 hours of game, and I am so glad that it is over. And side note, Lessons in Love by the end of this year will be the longest visual novel by word count ever written. Which is
what are you doing?
A big fucking deal. Yeah, I've got a problem. Yeah, it's absurdly long. And there's no better time to get into it than right now, since the whole first chapter was just remade.
Every time I sign into Discord to see what you're doing, you're working on the goddamn game of some. You're either in Scrivener or you're in the fucking 3D modeling program.
Yep, that's my life now. I don't get days off. I just work. That's all I do. And I'm fine with it.
Like the writing tool?
Scrivener, the writing tool. Yeah, I fucking love Scrivener. I had to switch to it because Google Docs just decided to be the fucking worst, and they completely like nuked their outlining system, which voided millions of words for me, and I had to basically just start over for my organization purposes. And Scrivener, for any writer who wants to actually organize shit, is transcendent. It is so good.
Is it open source or like free to use?
It's not free, but it's pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's like $40, I think. But that's just a full-time license, and you just get it forever after that.
Which is exceedingly rare.
Customizable too. So there's just a bunch of shit that you do with it. Like after you download Scrivener, they give you like a fucking 3-hour tutorial on how to use it. And it can be overwhelming at first, but like once you get the hang of it, holy shit, is it helpful.
Nice. Yeah, one-time payment, that's a big enough selling point for most people, honestly.
Absolutely, yeah.
DJ, do you have any recommendations that aren't created by yourself?
That aren't created by myself? Yeah, I started playing Honkai Impact, and that's fun. It's just like if the Genshin story wasn't written for kids and was super dark, and like they are not afraid of killing people. Like actual characters, which is like main characters, like characters that you get gacha banners for. I've never played a gacha game that just kills off characters and then doesn't add them to banners anymore. So that's fun.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah, I'm all about it though. It's actually got like a really neat story, and at the end of every chapter there's like an anime cutscene that they make, and it's solid. Like I'd watch an anime of this show. And apparently it has an anime. It has a spin-off cooking anime, which is just a thing that properties do now. So okay.
Wait, what is this? Honkai Impact?
Honkai Impact, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if the anime is on any major streaming service, but they have like a YouTube channel for the anime, and it's an anime.
Yo, who doesn't love a good cooking anime?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's also extremely Yuri, so that explains why I got into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say then. Say no more.
Yeah, I was
it's
like, aren't all the only
Yuri property? Like,
yeah,
okay,
aren't the only playable characters like women?
Yeah, there are like 5 male characters in the entire series, and they're all just really strong, badass women.
I'm a little surprised you're able to get away with so much, considering, China.
Yeah.
It's funny how gay all the Chinese stuff I've seen is.
I know, it's like super
awesome.
gay. I'm like, how are you all not in jail over there? I'm not sure.
They're working in like underground bunkers.
I guess. I don't know. It's like, as long as they keep paying off the government over there, I guess it doesn't matter.
I imagine it's probably just like censorship skirting, kind of like, no, they're just really good friends.
Right. None of them are canon gay, but they're very gay.
They are, in Honkai Impact, they are canonically gay, not in the game. There's a manga, and in the anime, I'm pretty sure they are as well. But like one of the characters is very open about being lesbian, which is cool.
Excellent. Kestrel, what about you? Anything on the recommendations list?
Yeah, so I mentioned Vinland Saga Limited Edition last episode. Check that out. I didn't talk about Classroom of the Elite, the anime this episode, but the light novel series is much better, and goes much further and goes into much more detail on what the anime does cover. And you can now get the entire original series of that. And they have started releasing the sequel series year 2 in English as well. I just got my first volume of that. So check out that series. I think that's all I have at the moment. Hopefully Nope is good. I'm seeing that on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Brian, how about you?
Yeah, so aside from Yurei Deko as my anime recommendation, I'll recommend a few manga that I've been reading. Highly recommend people use the Shonen Jump app because for like $2-3 a month, you get all the weekly chapters on release plus like vaults of stuff, which is how I'm catching up on One Piece. But since we brought up Rakugo, I definitely want to plug a new series in Jump called Akane Banashi, which is about a girl getting into Rakugo. Really good art, and the pacing of the story, 20 chapters in, has been really good and attention capturing. So, highly recommend that one. As I will do every week, every podcast, I'm going to recommend Chainsaw Man. Part 2, Chapter 2, just released this morning. That was fun. And what else is in here? Oh, for anyone who felt burned by One Punch Man's second anime season, I recently caught up on the manga, and the manga right now is going absolutely batshit insane, and it's reaching like Gurren Lagann levels of like crazy world-bending fights. So if season 2 really left a sour taste in your mouth, I highly recommend catching up on the manga because it's absolutely ridiculous, and the art is better than an anime will ever do justice for it. So
now, that is what I agree with everything you said, but I will say that I always thought that about One Punch Man for however many years the manga was out before the anime. And then the first season of the anime was like, this is the only thing that could have lived up to and surpassed the quality of the manga's art, because that's got to be still like the best 12 episodes of just quality animation ever produced.
yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. So if anything, watch the first season and then read from there.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, Sakamoto Days, read that as well. All these are on the Jump app, so all easily available. But yeah, those will be my recommendations for.
I'm not reading that many Jump series, obviously One Piece, but Blue Box is a fun romantic sports shonen. So I'll throw that in with your Jump recommendations.
I recently got caught up on that one, and yeah, it's cute. I really like the art as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Emily's been crushing that Shonen Jump app since we had to go into quarantine isolation for COVID stuff. That was one of the first things she did, and I think she caught up completely with Spy Family and a couple other things. So you can easily get that $2 or $3 or however much it is.
Yeah. $1.99 a month, and then once you're caught up on whatever you want to read, you don't even have to pay it anymore because the newest 3 chapters are always free of every series.
True.
Great. The best deal in media.
It really is.
Indeed. From myself, anime wise, I don't have a ton to recommend for like physical releases. I know that if you like 90s stuff like Violence Jack and Cyber City Oedo have some Blu-ray releases coming out. With Cyber City, it's a Steelbook, which is neat. And then Violence Jack is Discotheque, like a standard Blu-ray type thing. Those are pretty hallmark of that that very like seinen-y adult, like mid 90s, maybe late 80s aesthetic. So those are cool to grab. It's already come out, I believe, but I haven't been on the past couple episodes. But the Non-Biori Non-Stop Complete Collection, I'm sure is great. That show is a lot of fun, very relaxing. So go out and grab that if you can.
Summertime's perfect time to watch it too.
Yeah, really talk about it, especially if you live in a rural town. But yeah, I would say those are the three things. The only like truly, well, the two new video games I've played is I played the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, and that shit's rad. So if you like beat 'em up games, go and play that. And then there's a fun little time waster type game called Vampire Survivors, which just came on Game Pass, which is a lot of fun too. That's just like a roguelike type game that's good for wasting, 10 or 15 minutes at a time if you just need something to do. Because all you do is just walk around mobs while your weapons automatically fire. And it's just how long can you survive and level up the weapons. So minimal interaction required. Kate, anything from you?
A game called Stray just came out today.
Oh, yeah.
I have not played it yet, but you are a cat in a world filled with robot people, and you're just trying to find your way home.
That game looks great.
It really does.
It's been
I'll have to get it on PC.
Highly. Yeah, it's been reviewed very highly, so I'm just like, but I'm here recording tonight, so I'll have to dig into it tomorrow. So.
Cool beans. Well, if that's everything, I think we can call it quits for the night. So, Castro, why don't you tell everybody where they can find us, and also yourself while you're at it?
You can find us everywhere you find podcasts. Subscribe, rate, review. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Alexa, Amazon Music, fandompost.com. You can find us on social media, follow us, share our stuff, get in contact with us. We're on Twitter and Facebook at Fandom Post Radio. Get in contact with us via email, fandompostradio@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at FullMetalKyoma.
DJ, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter at DJ No Style. You can find my video game at lessonsandlovegame.com.
Brandon and yourself?
Find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch and YouTube at Hellshake Brando. I also write Mashal reviews weekly for Fandom Post, and we got some other things also in the pipeline, like sorry, my cat decided to unplug my mic right before we ended.
I was wondering. It sounded like you slowly faded away, like you were running from the microphone.
Yeah.
And I was like...
And right when that happened, my cat jumped on my desk, and I thought my cat unplugged my headphones, and now I was very confused.
I was like, I'll let you in. We're almost done. And he was like, no, you're done. Let me just redo that section. Hellshake Brando on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I write weekly MASH reviews for the Fandom Post, and look forward to more physical digital manga reviews coming soon. Rooster Fighter, if you're into big muscular chickens, I'll be getting a review for that out in the next couple weeks. So yeah, look forward to it.
Sounds good. I am into big muscular chickens. So we'll have to see. And then Kate, how about you?
I am on Twitter at SonicBug. You can find the stuff that I review at the Fandom Post, and I am reviewing Mouse Emma for season 2 for the summer season. And I will be sticking with it this season as opposed to dropping it because I'm bad at time management now.
As am I. And as usual, you can find me right here. I don't really do much of anything else. Social media, I don't have the desire to be quite frank. But excellent. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us and listening. And thank all you guys for your opinions. Always makes it entertaining, teaching me about light novels and how wrong I was in thinking that pertained to their size. But until next episode, thank you for tuning in. Leave a review, leave a suggestion for things for us to talk about. We're always open. Have a good evening.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.